Figure number 7, back ochos. We've done the forward ochos, and now we're going to do the back ochos. We're going to begin with position 2 in the cross system. Then we're going to dance into backward ochos for the follower. We're going to do 2 complete ochos, and the leader is going to switch here to parallel system and do 3 through 8 of the parallel system basic.
And now for the leader's part. We'll start in diagonal wall, left foot side, right foot side, rotating our torso to the left, left foot, right, left, right, left foot closing to right foot going out, outside partner, left foot, right foot closing to left foot, and resolving with the 6, 7, and the 8. And with the timing. Slow, 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 slow. And with the count from the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And now the follower's part. From the diagonal wall position, we'll be stepping into the second position of the basic. The leader's taking an extra step here, and while he does that, there'll be a significant pivot for the follower on the ball of the right foot. Left foot back begins the back ochos. Pivot on the left foot, right foot back, pivot on the right foot. Repeat that part, left foot back, pivot on the left foot, right foot back, and pivot, not quite so much, as the leader directs us into 3 through 8 of the parallel system basic. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We could count that like this. We could say slow, 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 slow. Or counting in this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And now let's talk about the technique.
We begin with the diagonal wall position as we step to position 2. The leader does this nice orbiting step that really invites me to do this pivot, which is a great setup for our back ochos. In order to execute the back ochos, I need to work the hips, turn my hips around, leaving my torso pretty much where it is. Unlike the forward ocho that used a lot of torque, this is sort of different. Instead of coming from the top down, it really comes from the bottom, where we really accent the energy in the hips in order to produce this pivot to the back cross step or back ocho. Each one of these steps is known as a back cross step. 2 of them together can be considered an ocho or a figure 8.
I'm helping accentuate her pivots by the use of the lead coming from my body and my embrace. On the side step, when I take a small side step to the right, I go slightly around her, but I'm also creating a shape in my embrace. I'm shaping so she's responding to the torque. And here, if I don't have a shape, she doesn't turn, but if I create the shape, that creates an invitation for her to create more pivot.
It might be difficult to really see, but I do feel this little invitation of the torso, George's torso, sort of inviting me to this pivoting action. As George says, without that invitation, I really won't know that it's a back ocho. So we must have that from the leader, invitation to make the pivot. I'll tell you when that happens. At the end of this step, rotating. At the end of this step, again, same thing. You can notice a little bit of change in George's torso as he invites that rotation.
You notice that my embrace is following her body. Let's do a couple more of the ochos. If I don't follow her body, it stops her from rotating, but I allow her and invite her to create that rotation.
And finally, we do the 3 through 8 of the parallel system basic, which you already know. Now, we talked a little bit about dancing in cross system in the previous figure 6a. You can see here that that situation exists as well. We'll take a closer look at that. We begin in parallel system, but here there's a transition to cross system. You'll notice the next step is George's left foot and my left foot. As we step out into this back ocho, left to left, and we continue in that way, right to right. So we have cross system, left to left and right to right.
Here I change back to normal system while she's in her pivot. I can change back to parallel.
And we continue in parallel system throughout the figure. Now the question is, how is the transition made? So to be quite clear, there's an extra step in both cases for the leader. Let's see where that happens. So we're in parallel system. George takes an extra step here without me. Then that puts us in the other system, which would be cross system. And again, at the end of our last back ocho, George takes another extra step without me. That puts us back in parallel system. So it's an interesting thing to know about the structure of Argentine Tango and how we move from one system to the other. There's 2 ways to do it. The leader can either delete or step or add a step. In this case, he added a step in both cases. Let's show you one more time. Adding a step for the leader. We switch into this cross system, back ocho. Adding a step for the leader, we switch into this parallel system, basic. And one more little thing we might talk about here, and that is, how is it that George is going to take one extra step and that I don't take it with him?
It's called suspension. When I lead her to the side, I keep her on her balance. I can also give her a little up energy that says to her, oh, don't move, wait, let's go together. And then when I release her, that lets her know she's ready, she can walk again. When I switch back to normal system on the right side, I give the same energy for her to not move, but to wait. And then I release her so we can go walking again. It's interesting to note that conceptually the leader changes system and the follower does not. For her, she's following specific steps and invitations, but the leader is changing the system, and really the follower really doesn't need to worry about that. It's the leader's choice and prerogative.
Yeah. So it's part of the creativity of the dance that the leader can move in and out of those systems. We followers don't need to know what's happening, other than the fact that we should know, if we're dancing Argentine Tango, that it's possible that we both might be stepping on the right foot or the left foot at the same time, and that it's not a mistake. It's also good to be aware as a follower that at this moment where he takes an extra step, that I shouldn't automatically take the step with him. This would be a mistake. So because of all the the technique of the leader that we talked about, hopefully this would become clear to me, like George mentioned before, keeping me on my axis from my right shoulder down to the right side of my body. He's really leaving me here. If I make the mistake of trying to step to the left foot, essentially he will not let it happen. He'll keep me over here and not let me transfer the weight. So all of those things come into play, as well as the use of rotation, where George is using the little orbit step. Good tip to know, when the follower is pivoting on the ball of the foot, she's unlikely to change weight. So it's always good to keep the follower pivoting if you want to sneak in that extra step. We'll show you one more time.
Here, I'll create a diversion of giving her a pivot while I change weight. As I pivot her and change weight, I'm keeping her on her axis. I'm also creating another movement for her so she doesn't follow my weight change. Even here, I'm creating a diversion. So here I'm in parallel system, and here I'm in cross system. And it's the same for her as far as the steps she takes. Now we're back in normal system or parallel system.
Just one more last detail about the follower's footwork. Let's take a close look at the pivots. So, as we enter into the back ochos, you want to make that a nice long reaching step, drawing the feet together, not too quickly. Draw this foot in just in time to take the pivot. Reach back, bringing the left foot in. Notice the position of the feet as we pivot. It's the classic collected position of Argentine Tango. Left foot collects to right foot here, and we go to the cross. That position again is with the free foot beveled and the standing foot turned out. Heels together, both heels of the shoe on the floor. So whether we're collecting in a walk or in a pivot, the same technique applies for the followers.